so much has changed in the past decade in real estate. I mean, we've seen the lowest interest rates ever on record, the highest prices of housing ever on record. And now we're in a market where we have triple the inventory, triple the amount of homes on the market, and we have interest rates that are going through the roof. So things are changing. So I wanted to kind of hear your take on the legal, the title end about what your forecast is for the future markets.
I can remember back in 08, because I've been around for closer to 2 decades in this industry. And I can remember saying then my crystal ball had been on the fritz because we had been in a really strong market and, real estate's cyclical, right? So it goes up, it comes down, it goes up, it comes down. But we had been on a really increased trajectory for a long time, very similar to what we see here over the last few years. But the main difference is that we've had stronger regulatory practices for lending.
Much stronger.
So I don't foresee there being a quote unquote crash. But one thing that does make me particularly worried is that we all have stories of people that went in and bought properties over appraised value, 50, 60, 80 grand over appraised value. Now, what's going to say that if they want to turn around and sell those homes, that they'll be able to sell it for what they owe on it? And that's a place where I'm concerned, not because I think that we're going to have a crash, but because specifically people have changes to life. So I think right now, one of the things that I worry about are any folks who are in some sort of distressed situation financially. They're already feeling the pinch. And while the market is still strong, Emilio, this is the time to cut bait because they may be able to walk away with money in their pocket. And that's what I think is so important for the listeners who are in a position where they may have even done a forbearance during COVID where they've got a second mortgage. Until we get into the facts and really examine the guts of these particular transactions, we don't know whether or not you can sell with equity, a little bit of equity, break even, or if you may be facing the dreaded short sale. Essentially what a short sale is the sale of real estate for less money than what is owed on the loan value. So let's just pretend you're going to sell your house for $400,000, but you actually owe $450,000 on the mortgage. You now have a $50,000 shortfall. So unless or until the homeowner is able to contribute $50,000 differential between those two numbers, plus potentially all of their, commissions and other costs associated with the disposition of the sale, if they don't have that kind of liquidity sitting around, then they're going to be prime candidates for a short sale, which is essentially asking the bank to take a haircut. And there's no such thing as a right to a short sale, right? So essentially this is going to be discretionary and it needs to be hardship driven, or at least that's what we've always seen in the past. So, you need to be able to demonstrate factual circumstances that require it. Loss of job, loss of income. What you were alluding to was something that was passed years ago. It was the Mortgage Debt Forgiveness Relief Act. So it said that if you had mortgage debt forgiven during the time of a short sale, so that $50,000 number that we are kicking around, then back in the day, right, the IRS, this has always been a longstanding tax principle, forgiveness of debt is income, because you're realizing money that you wouldn't have otherwise had. You're essentially going to be paying ordinary income taxes on it. It looks like you got a second job and now you've got to pay the piper. So during the crash, it was GW had put into place this relief, but it did sunset. It was extended a number of times and now it's gone. So if someone was going to have any amount of money forgiven in excess of $600, including mortgage debt, you absolutely have to participate with the idea of, well, what are the tax ramifications going to be for this? Which kind of only now speaks more to the point of, if you have a house that you see the writing on the wall that you need to sell, you should consider doing it sooner than later, because you may be in a position from a break-even perspective or an equity position to walk away with money in your pocket now. So that's why I feel like, if you wait another year and say, okay, now I've got to bail, well, we could be in a buyer's market a year from now.